It's Leo Knighton Tallarico. Welcome to another edition of Perspectives from the Sky on this 17th day of June 2023. Well, today and this coming week are turning point times. Today, well, let me give you the time actually. Today at 9:37 p.m. Pacific time, and actually on the 18th at 12:37 a.m., the new moon in Gemini. This is a strong new moon and an important new moon for a number of reasons. First of all, I've been talking about this new chapter that we're all in that started back on April 20th at the Aries solar eclipse new moon that was closely square Pluto and conjunct Jupiter. Very powerful. And it meant we're in the new chapter. But then we got pulled back a little bit when Mercury went retrograde on the 21st. Because Mercury retrograde is a time for rewind, reflect, reset. And that's what a lot of people did during that time period. Then on the 15th of May, that ended. Mercury went back direct again. And on the 19th, there was a new moon in Taurus. Taurus fixed Earth, took that Aries, let's get started energy, and took it and grounded it, making it more official that yes, we are in this new chapter of life. If you pay attention to your life and look what's going on out in the world, you can see what I mean. Now, at the Gemini new moon, the Taurus, says, yes, we're making this solid, but it also moves very, very slowly. Taurus, fixed Earth, does not pick up a rapid gait of running, slow movement, because you're making something definite, grounded, takes time. Now, Gemini, energies are moving, will be moving fast again. And a lot of it's going to be about new information, taking in information, lots of details, what to do with them, how to figure it all out, all the puzzle pieces, put them together. And we'll get a little bit of a challenge with this Gemini new moon because Neptune is square Gemini new moon, pretty close actually. It's a close square, only like a degree difference between them, a little over a degree. So, Neptune, where, Gemini's got all these energies, all this information going all around. Sometimes people can get overwhelmed when there's a lot of Gemini energy. And with Neptune in there, it's going to be difficult at times to grab onto the information, what's coming through, talking. A lot of communication can be a part of a Gemini new moon also. But, Neptune is like other dimensions besides the one we're in. It's the sound of music. It's imagination. It's looking at something and is that my imagination or is that real kind of energy? So Neptune's going to be strong this weekend with the Gemini new moon. So you may be looking at all sorts of possibilities of things and not an easy time to come to a definite answer or agreement. It's best to surrender a bit to what's coming into you. Let it go through you without jumping to a conclusion, without having to make something absolutely definite right away. It's more like allowing things to come to you as opposed to racking your brain to figure it out. So with the Neptune in there, and even with somewhat Gemini, kind of let things come to you. Trust that the answer is going to come at the right time when you need it. So that tells us a little bit about this Gemini new moon. Now, you're not going to really feel like we're really moving forward like today. It's the new moon's late today. But like I've told people a lot, the actual new moon, when you actually feel like things are moving forward, is when out in the sky, you start seeing the light of the new moon. So you won't see the light of the new moon until tomorrow night, or possibly the next night, but probably tomorrow night. And then that's time to move forward. So what does a person do on the day of, like today, or the day almost the day of? Um, it's a good time to meditate. It's a good time to make intention. It's a good time to make affirmations. That's one of the best things to do when you're waiting for the light to shine of the new moon. So the day before, the day of, and before that light shines, make those intentions, make those affirmations. You'll feel the actual movement forward. Now, some will tomorrow, I'm sure, but some will not feel it until late tomorrow into Monday, the actual let's get started. So to further complicate this new moon, today, I think pretty much as we're speaking, Saturn is going from direct to retrograde today. So whenever a planet changes directions, a couple days before, the day of, a couple days after, you can feel what that planet means, its energy and its meaning around that time. So Saturn, Saturn is like, oh boy, something, Saturn is gravity. Saturn is time ticking away. Saturn is things are defined. Like sometimes I'll see a person with Saturn conjunct Venus, the transiting Saturn conjunct Venus in their Venus in their natal chart. And I'll know that the time period that the Saturn is going to be conjunct Venus means that the person either is going to end a relationship or um, commit to the relationship, or maybe not as dramatic, just define it. Time to define it more. Go to the next level with the relationship. And that's the way Saturn is. Makes things definite. It contracts. Jupiter is its opposite. Jupiter expands. So Saturn's there contracting, and Saturn's contracting in Pisces. So it's a contracting and looking to be grounded in water. So it's not so easy to get grounded in water. So you may feel the Saturn energy, which is, I got to get more serious. I got to get it together. Um, I'm concerned or worried about something. I don't even know what it is. That's Saturn. And the fact that it's in water means that, I guess the best analogy would be like an anchor, right? So you're on a boat and you put the anchor down. So the boat might still be moving, back and forth and back and forth. You might not feel as solid as you would if Saturn was in Taurus, or Capricorn or Virgo. So those are Earth signs. So the Saturn to me today means it's time. There could be a feeling of fate a little bit. It could be a feeling of, I've been putting it off long enough. Now it's time. So don't forget the Saturn's going retrograde. So you may not get the full feeling of it's time for whatever it is you're thinking it's time about until after November 3rd, when Saturn goes back direct again. But to a large extent, for a lot of people, it's going to be now. You're going to feel it's time. And in the world, there might be some events that begin happening that make you feel it's time to move forward in different ways. So that's what makes today important, and today a turning point. But this week is a turning point because later this week, on the 21st of June, what day is that? That's 4 days from now, Wednesday, is the summer solstice. And that'll be at 7:58 a.m. Pacific and 10:58 a.m. Eastern. Oh, let me not forget. I'm not going to be talking this whole time. Deborah's coming on about halfway through or so. And so continue what I'm saying. Summer solstice. That's summer solstice also means the first day of the sun in Cancer. So sun in Cancer starts the solstice, summer solstice. So summer will begin this coming Wednesday. How about the sun in Cancer? What does that mean? Well, Cancer likes things to be safe and protected and nurtured. and caring and soul connected and everybody or everything coming together as one. Close relationships, intimate relationships, especially emotionally, feeling wise. So you can start thinking about that as we get into the summer solstice, about those issues, how they're important. And also family, mother, not only mother, like your personal mother, but mothering energy that's of the universe and of the earth. And so that's like an important thing to think about, is all those issues as we get into the Cancer time of year. A lot of people hang out with family a lot during that time period. So family, mother, and even just in your intimate relationships, to feel close in your intimate relationships and safe. Good time to get into feelings of safe at Cancer time of year. And things are going to be changing a lot in the world, and we've talked about it a lot before. Of course, I'm going to talk about it now too. We moved into the age of Aquarius, in my estimation, a winter solstice of 2020. And then we got stronger into the age of Aquarius when Pluto went into Aquarius in March this year. And Pluto's going to stay there for about 20 years. It's going to have brief bouts of going back into Capricorn, like late this year, and then late next year, 2024. Pluto will spend a little bit of time back in Capricorn, very little in 2024, a few months this year, toward the end of the year. So we're pretty much into this new Pluto in Aquarius, and it wasn't just coincidence that Pluto went into Aquarius, right before we knew that we're into a big new chapter. And some people I talk to, when I look at their personal lives, or even I think of our collective life here on Earth, it's more than a new chapter. It feels like a new book for a lot of people. Things are really feeling like, yeah, this is a new place that I'm in. And for a lot of people, it's been difficult because the new place has been like, the old place is gone. I can't go back to it, although people keep trying. Can't go back to the old normal. The old normal is gone, whether it's your personal life or in our global life. No going back. But the new, for some people, is not really showing its face that much. So they're caught up into this middle ground of like feeling not secure because you can't go back, and you can't really know what's ahead of you. So just trust. Again, excuse me, with Neptune in the air now, important thing is to surrender and trust. Surrender and trust. And believe that everything is going to happen when it needs to happen. I know when you look out at the world out there, you go, oh my God, it's kind of scary. Well, it's all part of, and I know it could feel pretty painful for people that are directly involved in what the things that are coming down. But from a bigger picture, we're moving out of an old age more fully, and we're moving into a new age. We're in the new age, technically, but it's what we do with our consciousness now that's important for the new age. The more we can be in the new consciousness, the more the new age is going to be here in our world. And I know some people are going to move faster into it than others. That's true. But the people that listen to this show, I know you are on that path of transforming consciousness. So here's some of the things that are important. One of the most important, when you look up there at that yin yang up there, take a look in the world and take a look at a lot of people that you talk to. And there's still this us versus them mentality. And even deeper than the us versus them mentality is it's either this or that, black or white, yes or no. There's no middle ground. There's no nuances. Everything is this or that. And when you look at the yin yang up there, they're not separate from each other. There's a circle around the opposites for unity. And so there's a lot of middle ground to go through to bring things together, instead of us versus them. Go to the left or go to the right. Yeah, sometimes you got to go one direction or the other. I'm not saying you don't, but inside ourselves, we can build connections more easily now that we're in this new world. And the Saturn in Pisces helps us too, in a way, because it grounds in the ocean, it grounds in a world of flow. So there's more of an opportunity to bring things together in a kind of way. Now we look out into the world at the trans movement that's going on. I know some of you feel really good about it, some of you feel really bad about it, but it's meant to be here now because the whole, you know, this or that, everything coming together inside each one of us that needs to happen. So every man has an inner female, every woman has an inner male. Read more of Carl Jung, and you'll know that he postulated that way a long time ago. Women have something called animus, Animus, and men have something called an anima, Anima, inner female, inner male. So the trans movement, in a way, is bringing us into that because it's shifting our way of looking at the whole male female issue in a new way, that it's not just physical, it's a soul issue also. Feeling male and female is a soul issue because if I have an inner female, which I do, that doesn't mean that my organs are such that I have both. Physically, I'm a male, without a doubt. On a soul level is where we have this mixing of the male and the female. And then some people want it to be physical besides. Well, that's their choice. That's what they'd like. That's what they want to do. There's a whole lot of issues with this around young children and all that. And, I don't want to debate that here. But, these are things that we have to work out. And again, that's by bringing the opposites together. People that feel it's wrong, people that feel it's right, come on together and let's put some guidelines to all this. Like we're a community, like this is real, it's happening. And what can we do with it? I mean, everywhere I turn, a new client or it's everywhere, everybody. So it's not like it's part of our world. We have to work with it, and it's a part of the Age of Aquarius too. And I'll tell you why. Age of Aquarius is greater mind. Aquarius has not much to do with the body. Trust me, it's more with the mind, higher mind, and it's about being different and not fitting into the mainstream a lot. It's about accepting difference. And so LGBTQ community is governed by Uranus, which is the ruling planet of Aquarius, and by the sign Aquarius. And because it's outside the box, it's not a part of our normal, everyday biological reality, right? It's different. And so the trans movement and LGBTQ, it's not about being loyal to the biology in the body. It's about being different, unusual, and not in the body necessarily. Okay. So what we need to do as we're moving further and further into the age of Aquarius is we need to make intentions around staying in truth what our body is and staying with the Mother Earth. We can't let the energies that are taking us up into technology and up out of the body take us away from taking care of our Mother Earth and taking care of our bodies. And then, of course, you already know we talked about we're working on the us versus them. And I know there's times where you have an argument with somebody and you want to, hey, sometimes the relationship is done with a friend, with a mate, with whatever. That's true. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not demonizing, not making enemy. Sure, things end because it's time. But that doesn't mean that whatever you're making an ending with has to be demonized or made into your enemy. So moving beyond black or white consciousness. And then, also there's a tendency that we all have to try to, oh, that's a good person. That's a bad person. it's like, well, yeah, there's some truth to that, but basically there's good and bad in everybody. Some just have a little more of each. Um, but again, looking at the nuances, some people are bad in certain situations, good in other situations. Okay, so that's what we're working on in our consciousness, moving into this age of Aquarius more fully. Lots of change is going to happen out in the world. We're just begun to have the changes, and some of them are not, pleasant changes. They're going to be very difficult changes. We're moving into a diversity within unity world, and that means that it's no longer going to be run by the military-industrial complex. Not going to be any superpowers. It's going to be more multipolar worlds. What we're moving into. Please don't let your world program you into how you're thinking. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. Whatever I'm telling you, process it through yourself. Think for yourself. That's what we all need now. And that's very Aquarian too. To think outside the box, to think for yourself. So we're moving into this multipolar world, and it's most likely going to be some wars, world war, which probably I'm talking next year. That doesn't mean it has to happen. Absolutely. Miracles can happen. And I'm also of the belief that perhaps, and other people believe this too that I talk with, that people from out there, ET being star people, are going to step in if it gets to that extent. Where we have the horror of war. But the military-industrial complex is letting go of its power. We have a Pluto return in the United States, which means Pluto's back to where it was in July 4th, 1776. Look how long it takes for Pluto to return, 248 years or so. And so Pluto in the United States natal chart is the military-industrial complex. And as we're having our first Pluto return, we're having a reconfiguration of the military-industrial complex. So this year, I think the concern this year is going to be the war that's already going on, and Israel with Iran and Palestinians. That's this year. So just keep in mind that it's part of the transformation. Next year, April 8th, there is going to be a total solar eclipse in Aries. Total this time. It wasn't total this year. It'll be total next year. And its path is going to be across the United States, starting in Mexico and then coming up all the way up to Maine. Last time it started up in the Northwest and came across diagonally the other way. This time it's coming up this way. And do you remember what happened at the last total solar eclipse? The one I just talked about that came down from Pacific Northwest and down. It was in August of 2017. Total solar eclipse in Leo, 28 degrees of Leo. And you remember what's going on? We had the white supremacy riots in Charlottesville, Virginia. And then we had these are the things that stood out the most. We had North Korea and Donald Trump, strutting with one another and then trying to make friends at the same time. Do you remember all that? And that's why I have this 28 degrees of fixed signs that I noticed that events happen, because it traces back to that total solar eclipse. So this total solar eclipse will also be across the United States. And so we can look for focus and events to be with the United States on this total solar eclipse. I think this one's going to be even more powerful than the one that we had in 2017. By the way, that 28 degrees is going to be aspected twice in July. Mars is going to come up to 28 degrees of Leo, and then Venus is going to go retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo in July. And that'll be all the way into September. It stays retrograde. What does that mean when Venus is retrograde? It means that we have to look deeper at our relationships. Sometimes relationships from the past come back to our memories, to our dreams, and in reality, in the flesh. And we learn to work out our relationship issues in new ways. So that'll happen starting in mid-July and go all the way to September. I mentioned the 28 degrees, though. Venus will go retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. Mars will be at 28 degrees of Leo in early July. And that touches off Mars and Israel's chart. So that's why I think that something in this summer won't necessarily have to be right at the time those things happen, but sometime this summer, I believe things will open up conflict around Israel. So this is an important new moon in your life. Remember, lots of information. I've just thrown out lots of information, I guess. Lots of information coming in. All of it will be not always easy to find a conclusion to it all or to find something definite. So just trust that the answers will come to you. There could be a lot of details coming at you also because of the Gemini situation. Let's see if we're going to bring Deborah on pretty soon now. Yeah, there'll be before we have that eclipse, those eclipses in next April, we will have two eclipses, which we'll talk about as we get closer to them in October. We'll have a solar eclipse, not a total, it's not coming across the United States, on October 14th in Libra. And we'll have a lunar eclipse in Taurus, Scorpio Taurus, on the 28th of October. Okay, let me just see if anybody's been chatting here. I haven't even looked. Then we're going to bring Deb on. Whoa. Oh, thank you. I see Judy up there saying hi with a smile. And Gary, thank you. Much love back to you, brother. So, Deborah, are you ready to come on? You are? Okay. I'm going to bring you on. There we are. Hi, Deb.
Hey there. Hey, there's something across the screen. Do you see it?
Yeah, exclusive offer for live viewers.
Yes. Is there a way to get that off of
Yeah,
there?
viewer boost. I don't know what the hell that is. Why would they do that in the middle of
Yeah, I know. I don't know how to X that out.
I don't either. I wonder
But
if it's being seen. Those of you listening in, do you see that thing in the screen, or is that just us that are seeing it because it's for our edification? Anyone else seeing that? Do we need to take it off?
well, I will try to ignore it.
Yeah, I don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah. We'll let it go for now.
Okay. Okay, Deb, what do you see now? We got this new moon in Gemini that's coming tonight, and we got we have the summer solstice coming up.
Yes.
You're gonna talk about those, right?
Yes, I will talk about those. And the two people said yes, they see it.
Oh,
So
they do see it.
I wish there was a way to
Yeah,
get it off there, but anyway,
yeah,
I'll just keep going.
yeah,
So, yeah, so I think, this new moon is so much like you said about communication, right?
yeah, and information.
Yeah. And also, Gemini has a lot to do with magic, also. It's a magical energy. I always think of the nature spirits as very Gemini like.
Ooh, yeah, fairy,
Mercurial,
fairy
fairy.
kind of spirit, right?
Yeah, the fairies, the fae, their energy is really like light and airy and very much like Gemini energy. So you might want to during this new moon really tune into the nature spirits, connect with the nature spirits, notice, hey, Judy. So really connecting with the nature spirits, they're in all, in the flowers and the trees and all of nature. I'm looking outside as I'm saying that. So this Gemini new moon is a great time to connect with them and just to see the magical um, energies and vibrations that are also here. And as Leo said, at every new moon is a good time to really set your sacred intentions. You can do a ceremony at this new moon, calling in the nature spirits, the devas, um, and looking at your communication. Any issues in your life that you want to have some new intentions around would be really good at this Gemini new moon. And also, Gemini is the twins. So it's also integration in a way. I think of Gemini also as connected with the sacred marriage because it's, the two twins can be seen as the good and the bad, the negative and positive, the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine, and really that integration within us of our own inner polarities and also in our relationships. So you might be aware of that at this new moon. And so those are some of the things that you can focus your new moon intentions on. Your relationships, your friendships. I think a Gemini is very much connected to that friendship energy. Your connection with nature spirits and the magic of nature and around your communication and your own inner integration of the different parts of yourself. So that's today, as Leo talked about, this evening, tonight. Actually, I think it's over. I think it's after midnight on the East Coast. And of course, in Europe and other places, it's tomorrow. So, and then so think of the new moon as a time to plant new seeds. It's the beginning of this whole new lunar cycle starting tonight. And those themes that Leo and I both have talked about will be themes through this whole lunar cycle. So then we have the solstice, as Leo talked about, on Wednesday, the 21st. So I'm going to just talk a little bit more about the solstice. As some of you may or may not know, the word solstice actually means sun stands still. So it's as if the sun appears to stand still, because it's really not the sun standing still. It really has to do with the relationship with the earth and the sun and all that. But and the sun is at his northernmost point in the cycle of the rotation around the sun. What that means is in the northern hemisphere where we are, we have our summer solstice because the sun is the brightest, because the sun is up in the northern hemisphere at its farthest point. And then in the southern hemisphere, the sun is farthest away, so they have their winter solstice. So today, half of our planet is having the winter solstice and half of our planet is our summer solstice. We're entering a whole new season. It's a huge turning point. There's 8 sacred turning points of the year. Every 6 weeks or so are times to really honor the passage, the shift in the wheel of the year, the new energies coming in. So let's talk a little bit more about the summer solstice. So it's the height of the sun. It's the brightest day, the longest day of the year up in the northern hemisphere for a few days. And then, but it's a turning point because even though the sun is at his farthest point north and the strongest in the northern hemisphere, it's a shift because after the solstice in those 5 days or so, we actually begin the waning year, the waning time of the year. So the summer solstice is the height of the waxing or yang time of year where the energies are building. It's more that masculine creation, doing energy, building energy. And then right at the summer solstice, it's a shift. It's a turning point. And the days will slowly, although we won't recognize it for a while, slowly will be getting shorter in the northern hemisphere. And in the southern hemisphere, it's the return of the sun, and they shift from the yin to the yang time of year, where the sun's going to start to grow stronger towards their equinox. So this is a time at the solstice to really celebrate the light, the sun, having fun. The kids are getting out of school now. Just, enjoying life, celebrating the summer. And what I find so interesting is at the summer solstice, we celebrate, the yang, the masculine. Father's Day is always right around the solstice, which is so perfect because it's that height of the divine masculine. It's like the height of father, grandfather, son. And in the Native American tradition, they do their sun dances now, where they dance under the sun, and they do that whole amazing ceremony. Is around this time of year too. So all over the planet, in different cultures in the northern hemisphere, we have celebrations in different indigenous cultures at all the turning points. And this one in particular is a sun dance. So really honoring the sun within yourself. So we all have, our heart is our inner sun in a way. I think our heart and our solar plexus. So this is a time when we really honor our inner sun, our light within, and also where we do ceremonies to give thanks to the sun that brings us warmth, that fire, that energy that keeps us alive and warm, and really honoring. So the summer solstice is a beautiful time to really give thanks to the sun, like deep thanks for all the sun brings, and like receiving the rays of the sun into your heart, into your soul, and just really celebrating that and that height of the yang time of year. And what's so interesting is, even though it's the height of the sun actually, as Leo talked about, moves into Cancer, which is the energy of the Great Mother. So it's both those energies are strong. And one of my favorite full moons is the full moon with Capricorn, the Capricorn full moon, and the Cancer and the Cancer sun, because that's such a balance of the Great Mother and the Great Father. And here we have it at the solstice too. The sun's moving into, Great Mother, lunar Cancer, right as we have the height of the sun. So you really start feeling the Cancer energy, that, more going within, more tuning into your psychic impressions, your dream time with the energies in the watery Cancer, being really more aware of your intuition. That's very Cancerian. The moon, the lunar cycle, is all so, the moon is so connected to Cancer. It rules or oversouls, the moon oversouls Cancer. And the sun oversouls Leo. Interestingly, also, is the sun, Venus and Mars, if you notice in the night sky, are dancing really close together. And they've been within like 3 to 5 degrees of each other for a while, and they will be until the middle of July. So just really look into the sky and feel that, Venus and Mars are like really close, dancing together, the masculine and the feminine, in Leo, in the sign of Leo, which has so much to do with the heart, shining our heart, the sun in our heart, our sovereignty, and the queen and king within us. It's that, that regalness within us. And it also has a lot to do with self-love. Leo has a lot to do with healing the inner child. So we have both, Venus and Mars right there in Leo now. And they have been for a while, and they will be dancing really close together, into the middle of July, and then Mars goes into Virgo, and then soon after Venus does. So, and as we know, and I think Leo touched on, is Venus will be in Leo for quite a while because she's going to be going retrograde. And I believe she's in Leo until October 8th. So that's a very long time. And in the cycle of Venus, I'm going to segue into in the cycle of Venus, we're getting towards the end of this 19-month Venus synodic cycle that began back in January 2022. And we're coming to a close soon. And Venus is making her shift from the Capricorn energy, which when the last Venus cycle began 19 months ago, Venus was in Capricorn for a long time, went retrograde and then direct, and that sets the tone for the new cycle, whatever, where that the Venus is at that time. So Venus is starting to go through, now that she's in Leo, she's going through her metamorphosis into the new cycle, which is going to be in oversouled, overlighted by Leo, the Leo energy. And that has a lot to do with our sovereignty and what I was just talking about, self-love, loving ourselves, coming into our sovereignty, sitting on our inner throne, honoring the queen, king within us, and our divinity, our sovereign divinity. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was on the actual same day as the solstice, which is in the morning, at least here in the United States, at 8:08 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So it would be 11:08 Eastern Time, and it would be overnight into the 22nd in Europe and other places. It's the Venus and the Moon are going to join together in Leo for the one of the last gateways of Venus. So we've been in the third eye chakra that I talked about a while ago. And so we're moving from the third eye chakra into the crown chakra. So when the moon, in the system that I've been trained in with Venus alchemy, when the moon and Venus join together is when there's a new gateway. And right now, Venus is in the evening sky. So I want to say, if you haven't seen when Venus and the moon get close to each other, it is just phenomenal. So this week, I would say, as soon as you can see the first signs of the crescent new moon, so probably more Monday, really look into the western evening sky after sunset and start seeing the crescent moon and Venus getting closer. Excuse me. And what's so wonderful this time is here, this doesn't happen that often. It's going to be, I'm going to get to, here in Arizona, and a lot of us in the United States actually get to see them really close together because it's at night when they join together and conjunct. So we should be able to see them in the night sky, but you'll be able to see them for a couple days leading up to that and a little bit afterwards too. And it's just amazing. And you'll see that Mars will be close by because Mars and Venus are really close. So they'll be the three of them will be very close together, and it's just amazing. So what I recommend people to do is to go outside, and this is what I always do, is just open your heart and just let the energies in of this gateway as we shift from the third eye into the crown chakra gateway in the ascent of Venus. It's the same as this, like Inanna coming up from the underworld. Venus and Inanna are synonymous with each other. So we're entering the crown chakra gateway. So you might want to feel the energies of the moon and Venus and Mars at your crown chakra. And so the crown chakra is, again, that energy of putting our crown on, crowning ourselves, and really honoring and reclaiming our divinity and our direct connection with Source, because we all have a direct connection with Source. And at this gateway, our crown chakras will be opened, and we can focus on opening them, bringing in the light of the sun, bringing in the energies of the moon and Venus as they join together, bringing it through your crown chakra, really letting yourself feel it. And then again, it'll be in that Leo energy. So again, that speaks to the sovereignty piece, the being in your sovereign divinity, knowing that you have within you, the divine is within you. God, Goddess, all that is within you and within your sacred heart with this Leo energy. The divine is within your heart. And so really, really starting to embrace that the divine, yes, of course, the divine is in everything in our universe, everything, in every star, planet, every rock, every crystal, every tree, every person, every animal has a spark of the divine, because we're all part of the divine. And yet, and we also have this divinity within us, and our heart is the place. That's the place of our sovereign divinity is within our hearts. And we have within our hearts, we have the threefold flame of our heart, which is the flames of our divine love, our divine light, and our divine power. And they sit within our heart, and that's part of our sovereignty. So really honor this connection with the divine in the universe, in source, the source, divine source, and that you have a direct connection. You don't even need to have an intermediary anymore, that we are at this time on the earth, as we're entering the Aquarian and Golden Age. It's the time when we start calling to and embracing our own inner teachers. And so this crown chakra gateway is a great reminder that within us, the wise one is within us. Sometimes we turn to wise people outside of us for guidance, but ultimately it's to find that wisdom, that inner knowing within us. And we can open up our psychic and spiritual abilities as we open our upper chakras, and we can have a direct connection with Source, direct connection through our meditation. Just every day of our lives, we can walk in that connection with Source and within our hearts, and they're not separate. So let me see if there's anything else. So I just wanted to say summer solstice is a beautiful time to do a ceremony to really honor the sun, give thanks, do prayers of gratitude, and also honor this gateway of the crown chakra, and going out to be with Venus and the moon and Mars nearby, and just really taking that in, letting those codes of light and love pour forth into your crown chakra and pour forth from the sun during the day. And I just want to remind us that this is what I'm sharing is to help us to live our lives as a sacred journey, because life is a sacred journey. And the more that we can see it as a sacred journey, and begin to see that we are always in relationship, and to bring that awareness of the sacred, that you're sacred, all of life is sacred, and to start having an awareness of our sacred relationship with all that is, with the animals, the creatures, the rocks, the trees, the universe, the stars, each other, that this sacred relationship is so important. And to start noticing how Great Spirit, God, Goddess, all that is, speaks to us every day through signs and symbols that come forth through nature, through our own intuition, through our interactions with others, through magical meetings and comings together. And so I just want to encourage everyone to really start opening up to that and really notice. And for me, myself, I want to share something is I've been having these major, massive encounters with birds the last few weeks, couple weeks for sure. And I have had twice a huge raven fly like right in front of me, like while I'm walking, like at, this level, like probably, I don't know, 4 feet in front of me twice. Today I had a cardinal fly right in front of me. And yesterday I had this most gorgeous red-tailed hawk was circling around me. And right outside our house, we have this pot where a quail laid first 10 eggs and then 5 more. And so there's these 15 quail eggs being incubated, and the mother and father are both tending to them out there. And it's just amazing. So we all have messages like that come to us. We all have through nature, like, we might find a stone, a heart stone, or a bird flies in front of us, like I was saying, or circles around us, or, a hummingbird comes and moves around our head, or we see a fox or whatever, and it has meaning. And so whenever I have an encounter like that, I always like to look into, like, tune into the energy of that that being, or that whatever that synchronicity or that message is, of what is the message. And then also sometimes I look to find out more information about the totem, the medicine of whatever that is. So I just want to encourage you now with this summer and being out in nature more, to just really pay attention to those signs and symbols. And before I do the meditation, I pulled 3 cards, which I've pulled before for us, and 2 of them. And I pulled it for the summer season and for obviously the new moon too. And this is one I pulled before. This is from Work Your Light Oracle. And this one is all about trust your path. And if you could do anything and you knew you were supported, what would you be doing? So the message is to really, really, really trust your own path and the guidance that you're receiving about your path. And some of that guidance could come through, some of the signs and symbols all around you, and what starts unfolding, the doors opening, and just really trusting that you are on a path. You're on a divine path. And if you knew you were supported, what would you be doing with your life? Would you be living somewhere else? Would you be doing some other kind of work? And just really thinking about that, because the truth is the universe does really support us on our paths. And then the second card I pulled, of course, was play at this playful new moon of Gemini. And also summer. Summer's a time for us to play, to let our inner children out. And with the energies of the Venus and Mars, and then the moon this week at near the solstice in Leo, to really like embrace that energy of playfulness. Let your inner child out to play and celebrate. Take time to celebrate. And then the last card I pulled was this one, which is Align Your Life. And this is all about just seeing what may be not in alignment anymore with who you are, and to let go of the past of who you are. And this really aligns with everything Leo's been talking about how the old chapter of life is over and there's a new chapter now. Well, it's also with ourselves. There might be old parts of ourselves that we need to release now, old parts of our life, relationships, work, family relationships or friendships, whatever it is that is the old you, so that you can realign yourself. You can see this person's face is disjointed, because it's this time to realign yourself with the new path in this new chapter of your life. So those 3 cards really support what Leo and I were talking about today, and what Leo's been talking about for a while with entering this new chapter. So be true to your path, follow your heart, follow what you know to be true and who you are in this new chapter. So I'm going to just do a little meditation to bring us into the energies of this new moon and this solstice gateway, because you could say we're entering the solstice gateway now at this new moon, and we're getting ready for the Venus gateway, and we're in the solstice gateway. We're really close. So just taking a moment to go into your heart space. Just breathing into your heart. And just become aware of the energy of Mother Earth beneath you. Becoming aware of her heartbeat. Our great Mother Earth. Thanking all the elemental beings of nature, the nature spirits, and just tuning into them at this Gemini new moon, those little beings, those light beings that bring so much to life, that oversoul all of nature, and just feeling your gratitude to them and your gratitude for nature and all that's growing right now and blossoming. And then bringing your awareness again, feeling in your heart a beautiful, brilliant sun, a golden sun. And becoming aware of the sun above you and the energy of divine source. And just feeling a waterfall of golden light flowing down from divine source. Flowing down and bathing you in golden light. And just imagining this golden light from source and from the sun, from our father, grandfather, son, as he's almost at his height and potency now. Feel this energy, this golden light of the sun and source flowing down through your upper chakras into your crown, illuminating your crown chakra as we're close to the gateway of Venus, moving down into your third eye, your throat, and into your heart, and just feeling this golden light of the sun and source filling your heart with so much light, golden light and illumination. And just as your heart fills with this golden light of the sun and source, let us give thanks to the divine Father energy, the divine masculine, at this time of Father's Day. Really giving thanks to Great Father, that energy that protects and holds, that strength of the Father energy, the wisdom of the Father. And just feel your gratitude in your heart for the Son, for the divine masculine, the divine Father and grandfather energy, and all the fathers in your life, the grandfathers of your lineages, and the divine masculine, and just giving thanks now. And may you all have a beautiful and magical new moon today, and a beautiful celebration for the summer solstice and the crown chakra gateway of Venus. And I send you all my love. And if you ever want to reach me, you can reach me at Alelia, which is ELELIA, at GaiaSophiaTempleoftheHeart.com. And I offer groups and many kinds of healing sessions and counseling. I'm a spiritual psychotherapist, and I do a lot of healing work and ceremonies. And then you can reach Leo at leoknightontallarico.com. And soon, before the end of the year, we'll have our new website up, Spiritual Renaissance.
Take care, everybody. Wonderful being with you again. Thanks, Debs.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Happy solstice, happy new moon.